Well, hello, it's Donna here from Blind and Knitting and Homesteading and Sewing and all those wonderful things that I get up to. Welcome if you're a regular viewer, welcome if you're a new viewer. I've had some lovely, wonderful new subscribers, and hello to you all. I hope you enjoy my podcast, and yeah, welcome. I live in the Wairarapa. It's a very spring day today. It's looking quite nice, but it's very, very cold out there. And so we've got the fire on, but you look outside and Mr. Farmer's out there lambing, so there's lots and lots of lovely little lambs out there. It's really quite cute. I am legally blind, so I only have about that much vision. All the rest is totally black. It's called retinitis pigmentosa, and it's degenerative, so it is deteriorating. But I love sewing, love knitting, love gardening, love homesteading, and thankfully from both my parents, mum and dad, I've got this stubborn gene which makes me stubborn and determined to keep doing, because I not only do I love sewing, knitting and crafting and homesteading, etc., it's my mental health thing. It helps me so much. I'm a social worker, so if you're new, I'm a social worker, a registered social worker. I have been for over 35 years with a degree in psychology, so any of my work and my therapy comes around psychology. I own a business in town where I've got social workers and support workers that go out and support vulnerable families and youth, and I do counselling and social work myself. So that's a little rundown of me. If you've heard it all before, sorry, but if you're new, there we go. So yeah, where did we get? So it's been a while since I've been on. I think every podcast just says that. I'm not saying sorry or guilty. I'm not. It's just life. I've had some challenging times, and I'll fill you in on those along the way. But I have also been very, very busy with sewing and crocheting and knitting and everything. So I'm going to start with an FO. My FO this week, or this few weeks, is this pinafore here. If you can see that, I was going to put it on now. It's the York, and it's by Style Arc. If you can see those line drawings there. It's a lovely pinafore. Very simple, very easy to make. The fitting was good. So if you're a new sewer, that's something I would say possibly not new, maybe intermediate new, because you line the inside. So there's mine. I've made it in this beautiful teal, or what would you call it, petrol blue corduroy. I haven't sewn with or worn corduroy for, I think, since I was a teenager. So it was actually quite nice to play with corduroy again. I've forgotten how much I enjoy it and how lovely it is to wear. It's a bit like denim. It feels a bit crisp when you put it on, but then it warms up and it sort of feels lovely. So this York has a very, very extended armhole, so that it, whatever you wear, shows up in it. And I've lined it, if you can see that, I've lined it with a patchworking fabric, which I quite like. And so when I wear it, you don't really see it. You might get a little bit of it, and I've top stitched it, although I don't know if you can see that on that colour. You might be able to, but I certainly can't. Here's a tip. I bought one of those things that are magnetic that stick to your sewing machine, so that I can butt my sewing up to it, because I used to have to sew really straight. Can't now with my sights. So yeah, I'm not ashamed to use any tool or instrument or whatever that will help me. So that helped me with certainly with the top stitching on that, which was great. I had what I wanted to do. I think, where's the pattern piece? If you have a look, this pattern here has two rounded pockets, and this one has like a kangaroo pocket in the middle. I wanted the two rounded pockets. So I cut them out. I had enough material. I still was a bit undecided, so I cut both lots of pockets out, but I was leaning more to the rounded ones, the sort of teardroppy ones. And so when I was sewing it, I started sewing the rounded pocket and laid it on to see what it looked like. I'd sewn 2 right hand pockets, hadn't I? Not one left and one right. So I didn't have any more fabric. So that gave me the answer of what sort of pocket I was going to have. So I've ended up with the kangaroo pocket, and truth be known, I like it. Well, I do like it. It's could be a smidge longer on me. I haven't got any photos of it, and I'm hoping I can put a photo in, but if I don't, I apologise. It could be a smidge short on me. I wear it with tights and boots. Maybe an inch. It's just, it looks great, but just when you lean over, you feel a little uncomfortable. So it could be just a smidge longer if I made it again. But apart from that, it fit me beautifully. I made a size 18, which is what I naturally fit anyway. And yeah, so that was my first FO. Quite pleased with that one. Thank you to my friend Sandy, who had made one and recommended it to me. And I thought, yeah, what a good idea. And it's been a lovely outfit to be able to wear my other homemade shirts and tops and t-shirts and pretty coloured t-shirts and that I've made. This isn't a homemade, this is just my, oh, sorry guys, I didn't dress up. I've got my gardening gear on. It's just my gardening gear. Yeah, but that York pinafore looks very nice with any of my coloured t-shirts or tops that I've made recently or in the past. So I'm really enjoying that. And although I'm not enjoying getting back into wearing tights. Never liked wearing tights, not comfortable, slip around, yeah. But anyway, I'm in New Zealand, and here's a tip for us voluptuous women. You know how tights don't fit very well for a lovely voluptuous bigger woman. They tend to slip down, and then the crutch hangs down, and then they twist around, and then you're walking with the crutch right down like you're one of those 18-year-old yo-yo lads with the pants hanging down. I buy mine, I get them delivered, home delivered, from a company called City Chic, City as in C-I-T-Y, and Chic, C-H-I-C-K, or Chic. Oh, could be Chic, actually. City Chic, City Chic. Anyway, not sure. And they have shops all around New Zealand, and they do a superb pair of tights in their own brand that are perfect for us voluptuous ones who struggle with tights. So highly recommend them. They're so much more comfortable than the ones that you would buy ready buy in town that aren't really designed for us lovely women. So that was my first FO. My second FO was crocheting. Now you have seen this before, and this is my jacket. Yes, I call it a jacket because it was supposed to be a cardigan, but it's turned out to be a jacket really, that I made. I went to a knitting workshop in Napier a couple of years ago called Calm Knit August Nights, run by Skeins, and I went to one of the lessons. It was a retreat, 2 or 3 days. I went to one of the lessons, and it was how to do 6-cornered peggy square so that you keep crocheting it into a yeah, it's very hard to explain, but the start of it is right under the armpit. So it starts there, and it's a 6-cornered, and you just go round and round and round and round and round and keep going round until you have made something big enough to fit half of your body, and then you crochet the other half. And so I did it in these wools, which is Eden. It's a New Zealand brand, and it's so, well, it's like butter. It's just beautiful. And I did it in sort of old worldy colours. I quite like these colours. They're sort of certainly my tones. What would a country cottage, I suppose, is the colours that I went for. I finished it, and rather than sew it up, I crocheted and made a feature of the seams by double crocheting and making a feature down the backs and down the sleeves. And I wore it for a day, and I really didn't like it, but I just wanted to, I put a lot of work into it. So, you know, you want to wear what you make. And so it just didn't feel right. And so I thought, wear it for the day. And sometimes you have to wear something to really get a feel of what you want to do with it and how it's going to fit. And so I did. What I discovered is the neck was way too long, so I've crocheted the neck much narrower, and I've just given it a little turnover collar. So that's much smaller now, so it doesn't sort of hang. And yeah, I like it. I wouldn't say I love it. And if it's been a bit of work, but it's an unusual piece, and even people commenting on it go, oh, did you make that? So it's like, okay, I do like it, and I will put a little video of me wearing it, which I have done on this podcast for you to have a look. And please give me your comments, good and constructive. I can cope with some constructive. It's going to be one of those things that is quirky, and that if I'm in the mood, I will wear. Certainly wearing it with plain trousers. I wore it with plain navy trousers and a white t-shirt, and it's very jackety. I did put toggles on the sides, one there and one on the other side, and crocheted a loop for the toggle to connect. And the reason I did that is because the more I wore it, the more it looked very jackety, and that seemed to match it. But that's one of my finishes. That one there, it's not a pattern, it is purely a 6-cornered granny square. So you start with 18 trebles in the granny square and divide it up into your 6 corners, and just keep going. It was a bit of fun. I quite enjoyed it. I think it would look really cool in like a plain cream, all the same colour, and quite long, like coat length. I think that would look quite cool. I've seen over in the UK, I saw a couple of jackets, long coat jackety type, crocheted jackety type things that were sort of similar to that. I don't know if I'll make one, but that would look quite nice. So that's my 2 finishes for the time. So what I'm going to sew and knit next. Now knitting is done. I've got these all down. Oh no, I've done more sewing. More finished objects. Excuse me for going down there. Oh wait, but there's more. I just wanted to do some simple little things. I have had some real trouble with my sight. It has deteriorated considerably, and I have gained a couple of syndromes or disorders that go with being blind. And so I've had some challenging times, and so I wasn't up to making anything big or complicated, but I just wanted to keep the swing going of sewing. So I thought, okay, just be real about this and just make some nice simple things that are going to give you pleasure at the end and not be onerous on my sight. One of the disorders I've got is called I'm laughing. I'm kind of still struggling with it. It's called the George Bonnet syndrome, GBS, and or it could be George Bonnet syndrome, but I prefer to call it George Bonnet. If I'm going to have a disorder, I'm going to make it sound fancy. And what it is when you lose sight and you have absolutely no sight in areas, your brain gets confused and it thinks, well, there's got to be something there. And so our brains are incredibly clever. And so what it thinks is, I need to fill those gaps. So it will fill those black gaps with things out of our memory, which can be interesting. So for example, I might be sitting here and have one of my old German Shepherds that's passed away sitting beside me, and it genuinely looks like it's there. It's like I go down like that and I look, and then I've got a double take and go, oh my gosh, that's Shar, or one of my dogs, Rosie. And then I've got to tell myself, no, it's not real. No, it's not real. Because they feel so real. They are hallucinations. And in the past, people used to put them down to psychotic episodes. It's not a psychosis at all. And that's why I have to keep reminding my brain it's not. But in the past, because they didn't know better, it was treated as a psychosis. And I can understand that. People that are losing their sight, considerable amount of sight, seeing things. You know, I haven't got to the stage, and I hope I don't, but a lot of people see people in toilets, like they'll walk into a toilet and see a person standing in the toilet. It's like, hell, I don't want that. My main one that I get is if I'm sewing something that's quite patterned or floral, or then I've got to live with that floral on my site for the rest of the day. It just sort of, all of the black around my site turns into a floral, and I've kind of got to live with that for the day, and it's really hard to get rid of. And I'm finding strategies to, well, I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of it, but oh my gosh, I've gabbled on about that. Yeah, so I'm struggling with that. There's a couple of other things. I've got a couple of pretty hideous surgeries coming up on my eyes. I love biology. I was a A+ student at school, and gosh, I used to rush to the biology class to see what next we were dissecting, you know, whether it was a frog or a worm or anything like that. And I do remember walking in there and with all these eyeballs on a platter, on platters on our bio tables, and I just couldn't do it. And now I'm having to face some pretty hideous eye surgeries, and I keep looking back at that eyeball that I saw in room 6 bio at my college. Anyway, hopefully that doesn't become a George Barnet syndrome site for me. So short thing to that is I have really struggled with finding how to manage that. So doing things that are nice and simple. Now, I was watching a podcast, and this lady was talking about bowl cozies, and I sort of was intrigued, and I thought, oh, what's a bowl cozy? BOWL. And I was really intrigued, so I had a look at them, and it's an article or a piece of equipment, sewing equipment, to help you lift hot bowls out of the microwave. You know, when you put a bowl in the microwave, I've got a bowl here to show you. When you put a bowl like this, like soup or anything, hot porridge in it, and you're trying to get it out, and it's hot, and it's really hard. So a bowl cozy, I made one. Here we go. Is this square? You make a square, and I've double-sided it, and then you put darts in all 4 of the sides so that it's shaped like a bowl, and it sits. I'll put the bowl in it. It sits the bowl in it like that, and so you put your bowl in it. Put whatever you want to heat in your microwave, and I've got silicone tops that I sit on top of them so that it doesn't splatter everywhere. Put the silicone top on. When I've finished, I just pick up these corners and take my things out of the microwave. Oh my golly, it's been a really, really useful piece of equipment, because I thought, I'll never use it. It'll end up right down the back of the cupboard. Even Mr. Farmer, who is really anal about his gravy, when he makes gravy for a meal, it's got to be piping hot. So he makes gravy and then he microwaves it in one of these. And so he's really enjoying it, because he can scald our tongues with his gravy like this. It's been really, really good. Now, the ones that I did see on, I'll put that bowl down because I'm bound to drop it. The ones that I did see on YouTube were padded. So they had used like a padding, quilted padding in there. I didn't have any. The reason for that is because you'd have to use cotton. You couldn't use polyester or anything nylon or anything, for obvious reasons. It's going to melt. If anything, it would probably set on fire with the heat of a microwave. I did use polyester thread, and I was pushing it with that. You perhaps should use cotton thread. However, I've made many, many, many wheatie bags over the years with polyester thread, and I've never had one do anything nasty. So I risked that. Whole big risk taker, but I risked that. And so I haven't quilted it. I think it would be quite good quilted. I understand how useful it would be quilted. It would certainly keep things hot as well, but I haven't really used it for that. I've really used it more just as a useful piece of equipment to get my bowls out of the microwave. I made a smaller one first, and it didn't really fit my bowl, so I made a bigger one. Pretty much all it is an 8 by 10 square. Well, it's not a square, but a rectangle. So you double side it, and before you double side it, you put darts in it. You put darts in the 4 straight edges, and the darts are 1 inch wide and 2 inches long. So 8 by 10, although in the end my 8 by 10 was a wee bit small for my bowls. My bowls are quite big, so I'm pretty sure I went to a 9 by 10. Yeah, 9 by 10, or might have even been a 9 by 11, but you can experiment with that. So, and then you put your darts in, which are 1 inch darts, 1 inch across, 2 inches in. They seem to work quite well for both sizes. I'm sure you could faff around with those if you really wanted to. So that you dart your fabric, and then you put it together and sew it all around and pull it through so that it's lined, and top stitch. So I top stitch all around. So easy, so useful, highly recommend. So that has been a finish for me as well, and it was, as you can tell, I haven't picked a hard floral or anything. I've picked something that's quite neutral, or pretty but neutral, so that I didn't get the Mr. Bonnet on my eyes again. I quite enjoyed making something, but also I thought, right, I'll make something else. So in my ice cream container, reuse, recycle, I have these that I've made. Weights. They are weights to put on my pattern pieces when I'm cutting out, because I can't use pins. I can use pins, but it's so dangerous. Blind people and pins are not a good combination. They're dangerous to other people and they're dangerous to myself. So I have eliminated pins from 99% of my sewing. And so I made these, and they're super, super easy. They're filled with rice, so they've got a little bit of weight in them. And I made quite a few. I've still got to sew some of them up. I've got a peg on it to sew. So I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's 8's about right, I've found, for sewing, for laying them all out on the pattern. And you just dob them around your pattern, and it holds your pattern down while you're cutting around it. Really good. Really good. Now they were simply an 8 by 8 by 8 triangle. So triangle with each side 8 inches. And then you fold them in half and sew each one together. And it's hard to explain. It's easy to do. When you get the piece of fabric and you put right sides together of one of the sides, you'll then go, okay, I understand. But I'm sure there's podcasts out there that will guide you in it. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed those. I've found them so useful, and I'm just keeping them in here, and I keep forgetting to sew those few up that need a bit of sewing on them. They're rice, and we're rural, and if you live rurally, you'll understand what I'm going to say about mice. We have a problem with mice, not so much this time of year. Spring, they tend to going out, but autumn, they're coming in to protect themselves from the winter. And yeah, rice is not a great thing. So I have to keep it up really high and just hope like heck they don't find it, because they are pretty clever at finding food. That is Mr. Farmer, hello, he's waving. That is all of my makes. So I have purchased fabric and got some whips. My first whip is, I did have a make which I don't have here to show you, but this is the rest of them. Our great-grandson is 8 months old, and he is growing like Billy-O, and my granddaughter said, oh gosh, he's growing so fast, I'm running out of clothes. So I said, I'll whip him up some sweatshirts and pants, just for winter. I did actually start knitting him a jersey, and I've got halfway through, and I've just realised I don't like knitting kids' clothes. I just don't like the sleeves. I just don't enjoy it. And I don't want to sound selfish, but I prefer to knit for myself. There's a pressure in knitting for other people that I don't like to put on myself. There's a pressure that, time constraint. Will they like the colour? Will they take care of it? Will it fit? And to be honest, I don't need that pressure. So I don't knit for them, because when you think of it, you are knitting every single stitch in that garment. The person that you give it to, if they're not a knitter, they'll never understand that you've put your personal needle into every single stitch. They don't get it. So it's not a disrespect of your work. They just don't understand. And I don't want to put myself through it. So sewing them is so much quicker. So I have, here's a sweatshirt that I've half started. Cute as a button, isn't it? I haven't done the bands on the neck or the arms or the hem yet. That's next. I've made 2 lots. I've made one lot that fit them really well and another lot that I've made slightly bigger, and I haven't heard whether they fit or not yet. And these are the slightly big ones. Pretty sure they will, but before I keep going, so I've got, how many have I got cut out? I've got this one here, which is the teddy bears. I've got this one here, which is the bumblebees, and I've got a few more somewhere. Oh yeah, there's a blue sort of, almost, it's kind of like chenille velvety type, which is quite cute. It's kind of reminds me of those old, what are they called, track suits that were fashionable in the 70s, that sort of velour with the zip up. So that reminds me of that. And one with gherkins, pickles on it. You know, why not? Oh, so that's got pickles on it. So I've got those cut out. I've got them sewn to that level. Just wait till I hear how long the sleeves and the length, etc. are. Not that I can make them any longer, but, and I probably don't want to make them any shorter. And then I can put the bands on them, and those will take next to nothing. Honestly, a sweatshirt like that would take half an hour to sew. They're super, super, super quick. I'm wondering what that is. What have I got there? Oh, that's the bands. I've even got the bands all sewn, cut and sewn, ready to put on. So yeah, they're really cool. That's one of my whips. The other part of that, of course, is he's going to need trousers, and I have cut out some polar fleece. I know it's not good fibre. It's, you know, and I really don't like it at all. Here's the woman that's got a polar fleece top on and making great grandchildren polar fleece, but you know, it has a place. I've had this for years, so it's just going to stay until it's worn out to a thread. These will probably be passed on to nieces, nephews, other grandchildren. So those are a pair of trousers. I've got 3 pair. I've got a dark brown, a navy, and a black pair for him. So I've made 1 pair. Again, I'm just waiting to hear whether they fit him, to find out whether I carry on with a little bit more of those. So I've really enjoyed those. They're simple, they're quick, you don't need a brain span for it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's cost you next to nothing. I mean, you've used literally 0.3 of a metre of fabric. Polar fleece is expensive, you know, something like $25 a metre, which equates to about £12 if you're from the UK. And so it is expensive, but if you're only using 0.3, you know, I'm talking about $5, $6, $7 to make that, and half an hour's work. Bit different to knitting. So that's another whip. What else have I got as a whip here? I find it really difficult. I've got to keep putting my head down. I'm so sorry. My next whip that I've got is a dress for me. We are coming into spring. What rubbish, Donna. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Coming into spring. Gosh. So it's quite nice to sort of have a nice spring, fresh dress. So I have cut out, ready to sew out of this really gorgeous material. Probably better to see it from a distance. You know what it reminds me of? Old-fashioned granny curtains, and I love it. And so I am making a dress, and I've got the pattern here to show you. It's all cut out, ready to go. I will find the pattern for you. It is somewhere here. Oh, I see it. I can't find it. I'll talk about it. It's called the Emerald Woven Dress by Style Arc. Yes, by Style Arc. Now, did I tell you that that York is by Helen's Closet? So the York pinafore is by Helen's Closet, and the emerald woven dress is by Style Arc, and it is a simple button-down dress with a placket with buttons all the way down, with a little gathered, almost like a buffet dress but slightly longer to the waist, with a bodice and a small collar and puff sleeves. So very simple, but just a nice, can be smart because it's buttoned down with buttons, and smart, but it's also going to be comfortable because it's got the gathered skirt. I can't, what have I done with my phone? Donna O'Donna? No, it's not there. Oh, there it is. Yes, it is there. There it is. There it is. I've had to use my feet to feel. Right, here we go. I can show you the pattern now because I had it already. That's it there. I love this one, which is done in like a chiffon. Or is it the other one? No, it's that one. That's that one there. It's done like a very fine chiffon, and she's got trousers underneath it. Love it. Quite like the idea of that for maybe for an evening thing. And that's the simple dress. It's, I'll show you the line. There we go. There's the lines. So nice and simple. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to making that. It's not a really busy pattern, so I shouldn't. My eyes are doing it now because I've looked at lots of colours and patterns. So, but hopefully that won't be too bad. That's one of my whips. What else have I done? I haven't sort of said, I've been to Rotorua last week for 3 days to a social services conference, a conference for social workers that had the political ministers come and talk about funding and all of that stuff. I did pull myself out of it a little early because I just wasn't able to cope anymore with the fluorescent lights. There was 460 delegates. It was a very big conference, and you had to look quite a distance to see the speakers, or because I was right at the back, or watch it on a monitor, and my eyes just gave up. And so being blind, and I've said this in other podcasts, and this isn't a way aware, this is just a simple fact, you get tired, you struggle with fatigue because everything you do is twice as hard. So I went back to the motel and had a rest, and then I thought, I've got to do something. I can't sit here in the motel for the rest of the day. So I thought, I've got this list. It's called 60 to 60, and I didn't do it 60 to 60 because of COVID. So I'm now doing 60 in my 60s. So I've got a list of 60 things that I want to do in my 60s. Things like whitewater rafting, jet boat, which I've done, skyline, all sorts of things. Even things like writing 60 notes of gratitude to people, friends and family. So not all of it is adventure stuff. There's some just nice stuff as well. And I'm really enjoying doing that list. I must say, putting it at 60 has taken the pressure off having to do it when I hit 60. I've heard of a lot of other people that are doing 25 to 25 and 40 to 40, and my daughter certainly has said, oh, that's a really cool idea, I wouldn't mind doing that. So I think she might do it too, but it just keeps you challenged and keeps you going. So I've been doing that. One of the things was to enjoy a gondola ride to look at the view. It's funny, when you start losing your sight, you see a lot more. And unless you lose your sight, you may not understand that. I think when you have fully sighted, you tend to just get on with life without really appreciating what you can see. And so, yeah, please do appreciate what you can see, because therefore, by the grace of God, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But the more I lose my sight, the more I appreciate what I can see, like views and beautiful sunsets and all of those sort of wonderful things that we can experience. So I took myself up on the gondola, which was, when you're traveling alone, Those things are, I mean, I do it, it's no problem, but it is harder, and it's so much easier with someone else, because it takes me ages to find the door, then I've got to find the entry, then I've got to find the counter. My guide dog Kenzie, I've got a guide dog if you're new, Kenzie, and where is she? She's laying down somewhere, sleeping and snoring. My guide dog is amazing, and she helps me so much. I can say find the door, find the up step, find the counter. So she's great at that, but she's getting old. She's semi-retired really, and so I took her and we got on the gondola. She did not like the gondola. Oh, she shook all the way up there. Poor thing. I felt really bad. You know, I was pushing her to the limits as well. It's funny, she can get on a plane, an aeroplane, and she's not thinking that she's 30,000 feet in the sky, so it doesn't bother her at all. But a gondola where you've got one moving article and one moving article, and you've got to get from one to the other, she knows that's not right, and it really upsets her. So I took her, went up there, had a lovely, I had a buffet meal, and I thought, okay, I'll make this a special, you know, buffets can be buffets, can't they? But there's usually some nice stuff in between. So I thought, I'll just have a nice, leisurely, long lunch, couple of wines, and the view was stunning. I will put a little video that I've taken in here, either now or at the end, not sure, you know, usually at the end, because my site challenges make it just easier to slap it on the end. So yeah, that was fun. So that was Rotorua. I really enjoyed that, although it started pouring with rain the minute I got there, and it didn't stop till, well, it was still pouring with rain when I left, but I was inside most of the time. The other thing I was thinking is, I love motels. I love being in a motel unit. And I was in there thinking, why do I love that? Why do I love that feeling in a motel? And it's the same feeling I get camping in a tent. You know, if I'm in a tent, I love that feeling too. And it's an enclosed feeling of safety and I think excitement. You know, what's out there that I can do that's adventurous, but I've got this nice, safe, little restful area. When you start losing your sight, you kind of know where everything is in motels. However, the lights didn't work in this motel, and I spent 20 minutes with, you know, doing the Marcel Marseille through all the doors, looking for all the walls, looking for ruddy light switches. In the end, I rang reception. I said, you got to help me. Come and turn my lights on, please. Never be afraid to ask for help. Yeah, I'm blanking now. I can't even remember where I was at with that. Oh, the safety of the tents and the rooms. There's something about those that just I love. That going into a motel room, and yep, this is, you know where everything is, you know what you're doing. It's you're taken care of. Camping, same sort of thing, although you're not taken care of. But yeah, really enjoy that. So I enjoyed that few days away. I was knackered when I got back, but hey ho, that's life. So, but of course, can't go somewhere like that without buying fabric. So my purchases for when I was there, nothing too much, because my sister-in-law found amazing. I've got the bag somewhere, but it's way too big and heavy for me to lift up. It's ginormous. It's like one of those, it's the size of 3 bed cushions together. It's ginormous and super heavy, and it is full of fabric, some beautiful linens, stunning linens, and some heavy cottons and brocades, and so she scored that from an op shop for me, which was lovely. So I knew I had plenty of fabric to play around with. So, but I also knew that I had a couple of gaps in what I wanted in my wardrobe or in my drawer. I've got a beautiful blue and white linen skirt that I love in the summer. It's a sort of big full gypsy skirt. I didn't make it as a purchase one, but I love it. And I never know what to wear with it, because it's pale blue and white stripes, very fine stripes. Pale blue is not a colour that I have a lot of. I don't wear a lot of blue. It's not a colour I lean towards. So I thought I need to make myself a t-shirt, so I brought some, and it's just elastane. It's a four-way stretch elastane, but it's got a beautiful sort of movement to it, so it'll make a lovely t-shirt. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a really nice t-shirt out of that. We can see how that's moving. I'm going to make one that's kind of loose and flowy that can sit over on, and that'll go with my blue and white skirt. I've got another couple of skirts there that have got blue in them as well, so you know, this will go with lots of things, but I don't have a dark coloured t-shirt in my wardrobe, so there we go. That was that purchase. And I'm a Spotlight VIP member, so I get a percentage, and I can't even remember what the percentage is, discount, and then I always buy things that are on sale. I'm not one for buying full price stuff. It's on the sale table, I'll have a look and say, oh yes, that's a good idea, I need a navy t-shirt. So it was originally on sale, and I get my VIP's discount, and then the woman at the counter said, did you get our last email? And I said, yes I did. And she said, oh, there's a barcode on there that'll give you 30% off. So I bought $107 worth of fabric, and I got it for $70. Bargain. So I bought some red, one of my favourite colours. I just bought it because I wanted a red t-shirt. So it's the same material, but it's it's not as flowy. It's sort of more solid than the blue. It's still full-way elastane, but it's not as flowy. But it says what it says on the box. It's a beautiful red, fire engine red, and that's going to be another t-shirt. I will have enough in those to make my t-shirts, and probably to whip up a t-shirt for Cade, a couple of t-shirts for great grandson. Now this was on special, and here, oh God, I've said, oh, what a hypocrite! I've said how much I don't like polar fleece, and I've brought polar fleece. I'm wearing polar fleece, and I've made polar fleece for my great grandson. There is a place for it. It dries quick. It's handy for kids. It's great for gardening. You don't care. You're not going to catch it on the chook house, that sort of thing. But I've always wanted a Letterman's sweater. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's a button-up, raglan sleeved sweatshirt that has a big initial on the side of it, and they usually have dark front and back and light pale sleeves, contrasting sleeves. That's a very American thing that I'm assuming the letter stands for something over in America, and I actually don't know, but they're fashionable Letterman sweaters. So I thought I'd make myself a Letterman sweater, and so this material was on special. I thought, well, there we go. So I'm going to make a Letterman, and I think that's navy. I'm not sure if that's navy or black. That's my site. It's either navy or black. Sorry, I'm not sure. Well, let's put the navy beside it and see. That's the navy beside it. No, it's black, isn't it? So it's black. So it's going to have a black front and back, and it's going to have that mint coloured sleeve. And I haven't put it with me, so I can't show you it. I might see if I can take a photo and put it at the end, but I've got a D for Donna initial, and it's in this mint colour. So I'm going to make myself a Letterman, and it's going to be around the house, not around the house, but a weekender sweatshirt. So it'll just be something to throw on. Not that I go far on the weekends, but it'll be something to throw on the weekends. I did think about making the grandchildren and the great grandson one each, because they're super easy. A raglan sweatshirt top is, again, you'd make one in just over an hour easily, not with the cutting out. And so I have brought the initials for the grandchildren and the great-grandchild, so that if more material comes up on special, I will make them ones. The colour that I was going to do my original one in, the one I was originally thinking of, was green, emerald green with white sleeves, because that to me feels like legitimate colours of a Letterman sweater. But on special, hey ho, it's going to be black and mint. So those 4 things. So that's going to be 1 sweatshirt, 2 quality t-shirts, not round the house t-shirts, 2 for work good t-shirts, probably a couple of t-shirts for a great grandson. So that's 5 items for $70. You know, $70 sounds a lot when you say, oh, I spent $70. And when you add it up, if I can make 5 garments out of $70, that's, in fact, when I think about it, in that $70, I brought 2 white zips, because that material that my sister-in-law found had some beautiful linen I want to make linen trousers out of. So I brought 2 zips ready for when I do make them. I brought the D for my letterman. I brought some pinafore buckles, because I thought I might make a chambray pinafore in the future. So I also brought some bits and pieces. So that $70 was more than just the fabric. It was, so let's take $15 off for the bits and pieces that I brought. So that's $55 for five. So that's, what's that, $6 a garment. It used to be that sewing was expensive, and it can be. You know, I do every now and then, I'll buy something that is not on sale, that's very special, and I will make something that's, you know, I will treasure. But I tend to buy whatever's on special and buy on bulk, or go to Spotlight where I can get major percentages off. 30% is that's a good sale bargain. Yeah, so that's the fabric I brought. Another thing that I have cut out, a lot of this is more sewing than knitting. I have got some knitting here I will show you for you knitters here. This, if you're a sewer and a podcaster, you will have heard of the BF bag, which is a cross-shoulder bag. I've cut one out. I'm going to make it in this denim, and I've got this fat quarter that I got from the sewing shop recently that's got butterflies on it to line it. That was an off-cut, 1 metre off-cut on special. Icky wawa, it was even cheap, even expensive on special, but it's pure cotton. Yeah, so that is going to be the lining, and so I do have that cut out, but I'm not chomping it. But to make that, it's just cut out, and if I'm in the mood, and when I'm in the mood, I will pop into my sewing room and I can whip that up. I've got, oh no, have I got the zip? Yes, I've brought the zip for that as well, so the zip's there as well. There's nothing more annoying than wanting to go and do some sewing and you find you haven't got a zip, or the buttons, or the right coloured thread, or so, you know, I do tend to try and, when I buy the fabric, buy the notions that I need at the same time, because that is frustrating. I think that's all of my crafts, sewing. Yes, I think that is all. Oh no, my knitting. Now, my knitting, we had what we called the Kiwi MCAL 2025. So 9 podcasters, myself included, and I will put the list of podcasters at the back of this podcast, and I have them here. Unfortunately, with my site challenges, I can't read them. Oh no, I had them ready to show you, and they've gone. I will put them at the back. So 9 New Zealand podcasters got together with the wonderful leadership from Marina from Strawberry Patches to do a Kiwi, to encourage people to knit with Kiwi yarns, New Zealand yarn, and use New Zealand designers' patterns. So that you had 3 months to knit a garment, either using one or other of those, or both. And we all, 9 of us, offered a prize for people. So my prize I've got is a wonderful gift from Rose Spud Dyeing. So Rose Marie is a woman I know who dyes with natural things like madder and avocado and onion skins. It's beautiful, beautiful. She just amazing colours coming out of these. And I've shown you the madder that I've bought, and I'll show you what I've started knitting with that wool sewn. So that, and also another part of that is from a friend of mine owns a patchworking and wool shop called The Stitch Inn in Masterton, and she's going to give a gift as well, and I'm going to put a gift in. So there'll be 3 items in there, or 3 things from 3 different people, and the lovely person that won it should expect me to post it out early this week, and her name is Nadine Veach. So Nadine, I promise you I will get this posted out to you early next week once I've collected it all from my lovely friends who've donated, and get it to you. So congratulations, Nadine, you've won one of the draws of the 9 draws of people. Yeah. So I started to join the MCAL, and because of my site challenges I never finished the garment, but I'm going to show you what I didn't get far, to be honest. But this is the yarn that my friend has self-dyed out of madder. Madder is a plant that she uses, and it's there's also a sort of a darker red and a much darker red, and I'm floundering because my knitting isn't actually in the bag. Oh, there's that one there goes with it as well. And I'm going to do an ombre or faded jersey, just a DK. No, it's 4-ply, and I've added mohair to make it a DK. And the mohair has also been dyed with madder. And I'm floundering because my knitting isn't actually in here that I was going to show you. So I'm thinking, oh my golly, where is my knitting? But never mind, I've only started a little bit. I've got the band done, and I'm going to use a New Zealand designer who is Truly Myrtle. Libby does some lovely designs, and she has one that I've knit previously called Oatmeal, which is a V-necked, just a simple V-necked jersey, and I'm going to knit that, and I'm going to fade it through from dark red up to the pale pink. I've never done one of those before, so you know, it's interesting to try and work out how you do the fading so that it doesn't look like you've just stopped one colour and started another. You actually want it to, you know, ombre through and fade. That's what I'm working on in the knitting world. However, as things get warmer, I will pick up my little apricot top that I started knitting at the end of last summer, and then it got cold and I started doing winter stuff. So I will pick that up soon because I'll want to wear that soon. That's a lovely t-shirt that I've been knitting, and I'll show you that in the near future as well. So I am doing some knitting, but not a lot because of this darling Charles Bonnet. I am struggling because when I look at my knitting and then I look up to see something, I've got knitting all around my vision. It's just finding ways of managing it. So that's my knitting, that's my sewing, my adventures to Rotorua. What am I reading? I am still reading The Seven Sisters, and I didn't think I'd enjoy it because I'm not one for, I like blood and guts, let's be honest. I like a thriller, I like true crime, I like something that's got a real bones to it, and I thought, oh, this is going to be some love story sort of thing, but I also love history as well. But I've really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. I'm up to sister number 5, and so each of the sisters is taken back into history to find out where their adoptive family came from, and the author, whose name's eluded me, but if you Google it you'll find it, has deeply investigated the history of where these stories have come from. So there's Spanish, with the Spanish wars, and there's just all sorts, and I'm thoroughly enjoying them. So I'm up to sister 5, so there'll be sister 6, and then I don't, it says 7 sisters, and I know there are not 7 sisters that were adopted. There are 6 sisters. So it'll be interesting to see where it takes me. Then I'll get back to my blood and guts and gore, because I do like a book with a bit of bones. That is, I think, pretty much me. Yeah, so again, welcome to my new followers, and thank you so much for doing that. And I encourage you to push like, and I don't do this for the likes and things. I do it just to be part of the community, and I've just made some lovely people, friends, through my podcasting, and so I don't really do it to increase my numbers. But evidently, I was watching a podcast the other day, and she was saying that if you stick to one thing, i.e. knitting or cooking or gardening, the algorithms of YouTube work better for you, because it'll take you to, whereas I tend to be all over the place and have all sorts of things. So I'm not going to work within that algorithm anyway. So yeah, but do like and subscribe. It makes me feel good. Anyway, have a great week, and I will catch you next time on Donna Blind and Knitting. Bye for now.